So before we stick our bars together, before we glue them, before we paint them, we need to clean them. And I just put all my bars together without cleaning the pipes and the fittings first. So that's why you can see this one behind me all done. But it's got all these printed marks on there that they use so you can identify what type of pipe it is. And my fittings actually came with all these stickers. So let's work out some ways to get them off. Today I am going to use acetone. It's what you use basically to get nail polish off in full strength. And that I'm going to wipe to get all the printed marks off. And for all the stickers, I have found this orange dissolved stuff to be really, really great in doing it really quickly. So let's go on to it. I am going to start gloves on, of course, first. And I'm going to bring the bar in front of me. Okay, so I've brought this over here so you can see this really clearly. And so all I'm going to do is squeeze. Okay, there we go. And I have my cloth and I'm simply going to put a little bit on my cloth and then use it to wipe off the marks. You can see that's coming off. You can see a black streak at the moment, but I'll get that off. So using just the cloth is going to get most of those marks off for you. And it's also going to give you a good base to paint on because it's taking that top plastic coating, that shininess off the top. But if you really want to get all of that shininess off for a really good base to paint on, as well as get rid of all the marks, you're going to have to use a bit more acetone. And I've got a different technique to use to do that. So let's have a look. So I've already got most of the marks off this one, so you're not going to really see it as effectively. So what I might do is I'll grab one of the legs, which I've got right here, which has all the marks there. It's also got some dirt all along there. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to use a lot more acetone and really douse it, I guess, in the acetone. So I'm going to use a container. It might be an ice cream container. I've used that for some of the smaller pieces as well. And you might see it on some of the close shots that I do. And I'm going to use a container. I'm going to use a scourer, so something a bit more abrasive that is really going to get that top coat off this PVC pipe and get all those black marks off. And again, use my acetone. And another thing you need to realize is that these aren't very absorbent. So as soon as I go to put my acetone on there, it starts dripping out, which is why you need the container. But that's all good because I'll keep dipping in and using that acetone on my pipe to get rid of it. So all I'm going to do, and I'll lift it up so you can see, is I'm going to start wiping it off. And using all that acetone, it comes off really easily and quickly. Okay, so using a whole heap has come off. And what I also like to do is then give that a bit of a wipe to wipe off any of those excess marks that are there. And I can see here that that's sort of like a matte already. It's already started to take off that top coating of plastic, that shiny bit. And this is really still quite shiny over here. So a good technique also if you were just wanting to keep your pipes the white color that they already are, or to get that shininess off to make sure that your paint really sticks to the plastic. And I'm just going to finish this one off. Now that was a great technique for getting all the black marks and the printing bars off your pipes, getting them ready to either paint and glue all the bars together. But what about if your pieces have these sticky barcodes on them? How we're going to go about getting those off? Well, this easy solution that I've found is using some sort of spray like a dissolvent, because it's easy enough just to start peeling it off, but then it has a really sticky residue. And I found that this stuff just helps it come off altogether. So all I'm going to do is give it a couple of sprays and let it soak for a moment. And then I will use one of these scrapers to start peeling it all off, and it should come off fairly easily. Now that's all scraped off, I'm just going to use a cloth to wipe the rest of it off, and because I've got that spray there, all the stickiness is just wiping away. This one, because it is in a corner, I'm finding there's a little bit of extra stickiness there, so just spray it a little bit more, and then it is just wiping straight off. One other thing to keep in mind if you are going to paint your PVC is that I have prepared these pipes, or most of these pipes, by wiping them with acetone to get off the marks, but I haven't been doing that with these. So to create a nice space, you might want to get off the shiny plasticness off the top of these pieces, and you just do exactly the same as I did with the bars. Just get some of your acetone and give it a nice wipe, just to sort of get that plastic coating eaten into a little bit, so that when we paint, our paint has something a little bit more to attach to, because it will just start to come off if you leave the shiny surface on there. Okay, so that's come up. You can't really tell probably in the video, but it's a lot more matte now. It's not as shiny everywhere around the outside, and so paint will stick to that piece really, really well. Just a quick tip when you are doing this, for safety, yes, use some gloves. These ones I find are starting to stick together the more I use the acetone. It's kind of melting these a tiny bit, but they are doing their job. And make sure you're in a well ventilated area, because this stuff has a really pungent and strong smell, and you don't want your kids or your other family members probably to be around it all too much. Now the fun begins. I'm going to go off and clean all the PVC parts for all the ballet bars that I've made, so that they're ready to be painted. I am going to leave one bar completely as it is and see what happens to it when I paint it, if the paint sticks, and see if all this preparation is necessary. I'm also going to just clean up one bar and leave it. I'm not going to paint it, and see how that goes as well. So we've got a few different options there in case you don't want to go through this whole process of cleaning. We'll see how it works out without that as well. So I'm off to do that, and I will be back to glue these bars together, and then we'll get on to painting them.